Our next guest is making money from the latest smartphones and mobile technologies, but he's not actually coming up with any of the gadgets. He actually licenses the patents that make them run smoothly. Joining us now for a CEO sit-down, we have Paul Ryan. He's the head of Acacia Research. Paul, good to have you with us on Bloomberg on Taking Stock. Explain to people, what is Acacia Research? Because you're not in the manufacturing business, but you know a lot about what goes into all the different pieces of technology companies, medical companies, software, hardware. Explain, what is Acacia Research?
We're the leading outsourced patent licensing company. We partner with companies who have developed these patented technologies and take over the licensing, go out, generate the revenues, and split the revenues 50-50.
So you go and find other companies or other businesses that want to license the technology or the patents that are created by another firm,
right,
and then you kind of make that connection happen, and hopefully the product takes off.
Increasingly, companies are coming to us. Now with our success, we've rapidly built, we now have 170 different partnerships with technology companies where we're out licensing their patents, and larger companies are doing that with us. So now big companies are finding us. Recently, we did a couple of deals with large Japanese companies, Renaissance, which is a $14 billion a year company. Third largest semiconductor company. We did a strategic alliance with them where we will take over selectively their 40,000 patent portfolio and license it to companies that need licenses.
How do you get into a business like this? I mean, it seems a little bit esoteric, particularly if you're not in the business of creating the original ideas. How did you get into this patent licensing operation?
Interesting question. We were originally a venture capital company, and when the tech bubble burst, we had some investments with valuable patents. So we needed to start assembling teams of licensing attorneys and patent attorneys to do the licensing. And with our early success, the light bulb went off. Why don't we build the world's outsourced patent licensing company for many other companies who either don't have the bandwidth or the teams in place to do this themselves? Now, many companies like a Hewlett-Packard or an IBM will do this themselves, but we're increasingly finding a lot of U.S. companies and international companies want to outsource that function to us.
Now, what typically do you find that a lot of these tech companies or companies that have these patents, because they're in other different fields as well, what did they miss? Did they miss a marketing strategy? Did they miss an insight into some of the large multinationals that you maybe have access to overseas? What is the missing piece for them?
It can be a variety of reasons. A lot of companies have had M&A activity where they've acquired companies that also have had non-core patents that are unrelated to their business that they want to get an economic return on. Sometimes it's an R&D project. They invested a lot of money, but another competitor beat them to the market, but they have valuable patents they can license to other companies in the field. So it comes from a variety of areas. Many companies now, the biggest trend is corporate America is realizing they've got very valuable assets on their balance sheet that don't show
intellectual property.
They're intellectual property, and as companies like Hewlett-Packard start making hundreds of millions, they're going to other companies to get paid, and in return, those companies then need to get paid to pay the bill to Hewlett-Packard. So it's kind of a self-reinforcing system that's leading a lot of major companies at the boardroom level and the CEO level to make a decision on behalf of our shareholders as fiduciaries. We should be earning a return on our R&D investment. Companies like Qualcomm have done a spectacular job where they got out of a very low margin operating handset business, 8 or 9% margins, instead decided to license everybody in the world their patents, and now have a 90% margin patent licensing business where they're licensed to everybody, and their shareholders got phenomenal returns from the shift in that strategy.
Are there any rules of thumb as to what types of patents are going to be commercially viable?
Well, it's the new emerging technology. Obviously, wireless is an amazing new area for us. As it mushrooms, we have very valuable portfolios that cover the original foundational smartphone patents that were developed by Palm, which another Japanese company bought, Palm, and so we are now licensing those. And we did a first license with Microsoft that was written up in the Wall Street Journal. We have another wireless portfolio for location-based cell phone services. We have another portfolio that relates to over-the-air reprogramming. So a lot of companies that need licenses find us a one-stop in-licensing shop. As we aggregate these portfolios from disparate companies, we then can at the same time simultaneously negotiate a broad swath of licensing. So we're bringing an efficiency and a rationality to the licensing process.
And what about the time frames involved? I mean, do these contracts cover decades, or do you get to renegotiate based on the success of the patents?
Generally, we'll do a term license, oftentimes for a period of years with a renewal, or there will be a fixed payment made, and if they increase their unit sales in the future, there will be additional payments made in the future. So there's a variety of licensing agreements.
Have you ever had any situation where they thought the patent was not worth anything and you took a look at it and said, no, this is worth a lot of money. Let us take this over?
Well, usually they know there's some value there. They just don't have the expertise to really know how to go out and monetize it and generate the revenues. But it's unusual for us to find something that someone's totally unaware that has value.
All right. Still